Wow!
Could you tell me about it, or how was it like back then?
Well, it was very, very different. It was an old-time music hall then, the old-time music hall, and when they come out on stage, at the half time, they could come down to the bars, you see, and join in with the people and have a drink with them and all that. And then they'd go back up on stage. Like everything was all together. Now, of course, it's all different. But the likes of W.C. Fields, G.H. Eliot, Gertie Katana, all the old-time music hall people, they were on. And then, of course, come 1950, we had different kind of stuff, you know, like big opening nights. All the ladies, all the front of the stalls would be reserved seats, and the ladies would pull up outside in their Rolls Royces or their horse and cars, their furs, and the men with their bow ties and all that, you know. It was lovely to see them coming in dressed. And of course, they always played the soldier song before a show. That's all done away with. So there's nothing, the show just goes on and that's that. I mean, they were lovely. It was a lovely time to go to the theatre then, you know. But time marches on and people change.
How was it? You were telling us before, or could you tell us a little bit about raising your children here?
Thank God they're raised now, they can't sack me. They, you see, you weren't allowed to be married. You couldn't have a job if you were a married woman in them years. And I had no intention of marrying because I had a child every year. I was like a rabbit. But however, my mother-in-law, the Lord of mercy on her, she wanted to try and get a cleaning job in a cinema. So I said, well, I'll take her down to Liberty Hall. So we went down to Liberty Hall and we saw the branch secretary and asked him what's their work and all that. And he said, well, I'm afraid there's no cleaning jobs, but there is a bit of work going up in the Olympia Theatre for a barmaid. Now, it's only 3 weeks' work, but it'd suit yourself. So, of course, I got excited when I heard that, you know. So I told no lies. He says, what's your name? I said, Maureen Grant, which it was. Fox was my single name. So he says, well, go up and see Mr. Trainer at 3:30. And he gave me a card, so I come up to the theatre. And I seemed to be a bit early. The cashier says, go in and sit in the hall. So I sat in the hall and I was reading a few of the signs, you know. And there happened to be one, the Sadler Wells Theatre. But of course I didn't understand anything about theatre that time. So this fella come through and he says, are you waiting for somebody? So I stood up, I said, are you the manager? He says, yes. Well, I said, I'm here from the union about the job. So he says, walk up there. So of course I walked up, you know. So he says, lift up your skirt. I said, excuse me, I said, I'm here for a job. I'm not looking to be a dancer. And with this old lad walked in, and he happened to be Mr. Trainer. The other fellow was a magician on the show, and he was just having a bit of crack, you know. Well, he says, you're not funny, he says. What did he say to you? Said nothing, we made a mistake. I didn't want to say. So he says, this is the office, come in here. Well, the green room was the office then. So he says, what did that fellow say to you? I said, he didn't say anything. So he says, where's the card? So I gave him the card. So he says, do you drink? I said, no. Do you smoke? No, you're too good to be true now, he says. Did you ever serve drink? And like that, it struck me about the Sadler Wells Theatre. Somehow that stuck in my mind. And I said, yes. Says he, where? Because my mother was a Londoner. I said, in the Sadler Wells Theatre. Oh, Good, he says. Why did you serve pints over there? So, you know, the big wooden barrels, I said, you put the mug into it. And be here at 6:30, he says, at the stage door, because there was 2 houses a night that time. Be here at 6:30, and you would meet a Carmen Lee, and she'd tell you what to do. So, of course, I comes in and I meet Carmen Lee, and she says, I'm going to take you to the circle. So, up we went. So she told me what to do and all that, you know. Of course, my name went down, Maureen Grant, and blah, blah, blah. And so, from then on, it was only for 3 weeks, so I didn't care. But I got used to the money. 19 and tuppence a week was my wages, less than £1. But the next thing was, anyway, 3 weeks passed, no sign of me going. 6 weeks passed, no sign of me going. 3 years passed, and I'm still here. The other girl didn't come back. So, of course, now the first one to come along was Jimmy. He was a crier, if ever there was a crier. And I used to wrap a blanket around him, and I'd hang him on the back of the door here, and I'd rock him, and he's gone asleep. Then I'd have 2 hid inside in the cigar bar in a box. Once they had their dodies in their mouth, I trained them to the right time anyway. But I'd have them all over the place, and nobody ever caught me on. Now, the girls were good, like, you know, they'd give me the billy if I was needed. So I used to leave the old pram out in Crampton Court. They were all stuck in the pram then, and I'd bring them home then, and then I got a girl at night. I couldn't bring them in at night. I used to do me washing upstairs in the circle bar, put them on the hot pipes and have them ready for school the next morning for them. So not like the mothers today, the way they can get away with it, but anyway, they got their schooling and all that, so that made me very proud of them all.
And a few of them are working here now.
Yeah, one of the granddaughters is upstairs, the other one left and went to Hackett's. Oh, there he is, Jimmy. That's the crier. That's Jimmy. But other than that, you know, life just went on, and I got away with the lie anyway until I had a fall upstairs and I was whipped off to the Coombe Hospital, where I was caught on then, but Mr. Isley and Mr. McCabe owned it then, and they had a dog named Major. But when I come out of hospital, I said, well, my job was gone anyway, you know, because even without them, the law wouldn't let you work when you were married. So they sent for me. And Mr. Isley went to the manageress, and he says, I believe Miss Grant had a baby girl. That's right, she said. My God, he says, does she know who owns it? Is there any of the lads backstage? So she, oh no, Mr. Isley, she said, that's Miss Grant's 8th child. Oh, Jesus, Mary and Joseph, he says, give me a large brandy. So it went on and on anyway, and it turned out that they asked me if I come back, would I not take any more holidays for 7 years? So why 7 years? He says, well, at least it'll give you a chance. So you needn't worry, I won't want any holidays. So it turned out anyway that they brought me back and they settled it with the union. And I come back anyway, and 7 years to the day, I had another. A little black pig. Yeah, I had another one after the 7 years. So they really thought that I was doing it for them, but the 2 of them are dead now, Stanley Isley and Leo McCain. So I'm killing all my bosses off one by one. What would I retire for? I love my job, and I love the theatre. And I feel here that all my family is around me. Where if I'm sitting at home, I'm thinking, sadly. So I can get into my little car and drive over to work and drive home, so why should I worry?